Hey guys, what's up? Lone Berserker here, and I am absolutely excited to announce that this is the first part of my audiobook, I guess you could call it. Now, this is going to be a three-part book series. It's probably going to be roughly 6 parts in terms of audiobooks, since my Wi-Fi is so bad and slow when it comes to uploading, so I have to split them up and make them smaller. That being said, I tried to stretch this one specifically to a certain length. You can tell it's about an hour long, this entire video. And there's a reason for that, and it's because I wanted to stop the recording, or the book, I guess you could call it, at the point where Mithridates becomes king, and I think that is fairly fitting in my opinion. I think it fits well. In the next part, it gets a lot more detailed into his reign, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, it gets pretty detailed. So yeah, this is part 1, guys. Part 2 I will try and release as quickly as possible. However, reading your own book is probably the most grueling thing ever, on top of having to re-listen to yourself talk about your own book. It's, I never thought it'd be that bad, but it's worse than it looks. It's worse than it sounds. So, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. So the book series is called The Emperor of the Black Sea, Mithridates. That's basically just what all the books are going to be called. I don't really have any specific names. The covers are also very basic. So yeah, guys, so this first one is 152 pages. I read up to chapter 8 in this first part. Other than that, that's about all. I hope you guys enjoy this book series. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye, guys. The Black Sea Emperor, Mithridates, Book 1. Chapter 1. Here are the ones that I picked out, Dad, the little boy said as he carried a few books out from the old room. Let's see what you got, the father replied as he put his glasses on. Ah, I see. Mithridates the Great, my favorite king. He looks very interesting. I'm so excited to learn about him, the boy said. Well then, sit down and we can start reading, the father said. The boy jumped up and sat on the father's lap. In a faraway land called Pontus, the father began to read. Look, in the sky, Mithridates V said as he pointed. It's a comet. Could this mean? He thought. Quickly, he ran back into the palace of Amasiah. You're in a hurry, Alexios said, hiding the smirk. There's a comet. My child is marked for greatness. I have to hurry, Mithridates V said. Here is your newborn child, the nurse said as she handed him Mithridates VI. I can tell he is going to be strong and handsome. Of course, all of my children will be handsome and strong, Mithridates V said. Where is Laodice? He asked. You have to understand, sir. She is in severe pain. It is best to let her rest, the nurse replied. You're probably right. Thank you for all the work that you have done, Mithridates V said. It is my honor to serve the king of Pontus. The nurse bowed and left the room. Let's get you to your mother, Mithridates V said, smiling at his newborn baby. Thank you for bringing him to me, Laodice said, smiling. Moving closer, Mithridates V started to whisper. Did you see it? The comet. Shocked, Laodice replied. Why, this is great news. Keep it down, Mithridates V said. He is a prize. We cannot allow him to be harmed. You are right. He will have to stay with me for now, until we can find something else to do with him, Laodice said. The two said their goodbyes. Alexios, I want you to call Diophantus the Elder back to Amasiah, Mithridates V said. I'll get to him right away, sir, Alexios said, bowing. Diophantus the Elder, tisk, he thought. Why is Alexios out of the royal palace, Ariobarzanes thought. Ariobarzanes prepared himself for the meeting ahead. Ariobarzanes, it is good to see you, Alexios said as he bowed. It is good to see you too. How are things going in the royal palace? Ariobarzanes asked. Let's see what this fool makes up, he thought. Mithridates V seems to be in a frantic state, he said, as he walked into the fort. The new possible heir to the kingdom has been born. Mithridates V says he is marked for greatness by a comet. Well, comets are a good omen. I saw it too, Ariobarzanes replied. Now, what is it that brings you all the way out near Galatia, he asked. Alexios took a deep breath. Mithridates V sent me here to find Diophantus the Elder. Have you seen him recently? Alexios asked. I have. However, he is nowhere near here. He is on the border of Paphlagonia. A recent dispute happened. I had to send some troops to back Diophantus up in case anything happened, Ariobarzanes said. This is ridiculous, Alexios thought. Thank you for the information. I will be on my way. Alexios bowed and left the fort. Ariobarzanes turned to his guard. Call one of the spies. I want to make sure he doesn't try anything. Right away, sir, the guard bowed and left. Pylomenes, listen to me. It was a mere accident. If we both agree to leave it at that, then we can put this all behind us, Diophantus said. No, this will not be put behind anyone, Pylomenes shouted. Your soldier killed one of mine. You should not have been doing drills on our land. You never even asked for permission, Diophantus argued. If I have to, I will gather more soldiers and burn everything you own, he threatened. Fine, we will put this behind us, Pylomenes replied. I'm glad we could come to an agreement, Diophantus said as he shook Pylomenes' hand. Diophantus, I am sorry to interrupt your whatever you have going on here, but Alexios is here to see you, the guard said. Alexios, Diophantus said, surprised. Why is Alexios out here, he thought. Bring him over to me, he commanded. Yes, sir, the guard replied. Alexios, what brings you out here? This is far from the palace of Amasya, Diophantus said. Diophantus was about twice the age of Alexios, on top of being a veteran warrior. Greetings, Diophantus, Alexios said, trying to catch his breath. Mithridates V has ordered you back to the palace, Alexios finished. Thank you for letting me know, but I must bring Ariobarzanes' troops back to him, Diophantus said. Do not worry about that. I can take them back. Mithridates V really needs you, Alexios replied. That won't be happening, Diophantus thought. Alexios, I am thankful for the offer, but I can handle it myself. Tell Mithridates V there will be a delay, Diophantus finished. Yes, sir. I wish you luck on your journey, Alexios bowed and left. That old fool. He is going to pay for insulting me, Alexios thought. Ariobarzanes, it is nice to see you, Diophantus said. I have the 50 soldiers that you sent me. They are all alive. He finished with a smile. Greetings, Diophantus. Thank you for keeping them safe. Sit down. I have something to talk to you about, Ariobarzanes gestured to his chair. What exactly happened on the border? One of the archers in a guard tower saw Pylomenes' troops drilling and thought they were attacking. He's a new recruit. He sounded the alarm and scared everyone half to death, Diophantus finished. Did he kill anyone? Ariobarzanes asked, hiding his smile. One cavalryman, the poor soul, never saw the arrow coming, Diophantus said, taking a sip of wine. That is not the only thing, though, Ariobarzanes said, looking up at Diophantus. Is it about Alexios? Diophantus asked. If so, I am just as worried. It is. Are you on to the same thought that I am? Ariobarzanes asked. Yes, I am, Diophantus said, stroking his beard. The best we can do is keep an eye on him. He is young, after all, Diophantus finished. You are right, Ariobarzanes leaned in. I am watching him as we speak, he whispered. Be careful. You might provoke him, Diophantus said. As much as I want to stay, Mithridates V has requested that I go back to the palace in Amasya. The two said their goodbyes. There it is, Diophantus said to his guards, the beautiful capital of Pontus. I have never seen it before, one of the guards said. It is very beautiful. You two stay out here. I'll go in, Diophantus ordered. The palace halls are much better looking than I remember, he thought. Diophantus walks into the palace room. Ah, Diophantus, it is good to see you, Mithridates V said, pushing his dancer aside. It is nice to be back in Amasya, sir, Diophantus said, bowing. Not to be rude, but what have you called me here for? Well, Mithridates V began, the possible heir to my kingdom has just been born, and I am in need of someone to watch over him. That is great news, sir, but I have my own newborn to deal with. Is there anyone else that could take care of him? Diophantus asked. Mithridates V leaned forward. No, it is a strict order. You will watch over him. The palace is not a safe place. Diophantus took a deep breath. Yes, sir. I will take him with me when I leave. Where is he? He is currently with Laodice. I will have the nurse get him for you. I am placing all my faith in you. Do not let me down, Mithridates V said. He had an unusual stern look on his face. I will not let you down, my king, Diophantus bowed and left. The gods better protect us, he thought. Here is the boy, the nurse said as she handed Mithridates VI over to Diophantus. Thank you, madame, Diophantus smiled, and the nurse walked away. I guess you're my new best friend, Diophantus walked out and left with his guards. What am I going to do with you, he thought. Is that a child, Euthalia asked. I am on guard duty for the new heir. It was a strict order from the king, Diophantus replied. Well, this is just great. We have our own child to deal with, Euthalia said. We are just going to have to make do, Diophantus replied. He stared at the baby and sighed. Chapter 2. Get the boys out, Diophantus yelled. I will catch the thief. Diophantus dashed out his door and past the raging fire. You will never catch me, the thief yelled as he ran. Before he could react, someone came rushing down a hill and tackled him. The two went rolling onto the path. He's wearing a purple cape. He must be of royalty, Diophantus thought. Stop, do not move, he ordered. It's me, Ariobarzanes said as he brought the man off the ground. What are you doing here? Never mind, we have to deal with this buffoon, Diophantus said. Guards, take the hood off. The guards pulled the hood off of the dark figure. Who are you, Ariobarzanes asked. You think you're going to get that out of me, the man replied. Bring him to the king, Diophantus ordered. Isn't this something? First night with the heir and the house gets set on fire. Diophantus sat down on a rock. You realize that we have become targeted, Ariobarzanes asked. Not too long ago, Galatians attempted a raid. Galatians haven't raided our land since Mithridates II. Something is going on here. Has your spy brought any news, Diophantus asked, rubbing his forehead. No, he has been silent, Ariobarzanes said. Here are the two boys, Euthalia said. Did you catch him? Yes, he's being sent to the king for questioning, Diophantus said, putting his head in his hands. Don't beat yourself up over it. We may have to be somewhere safer, Ariobarzanes said. I must be going now. I wish you the best of luck. How about we all go back to Amasya, Euthalia asked. We can't. It's simply too dangerous, Diophantus said. I have an idea, though. We will discuss it in the morning. Sir, someone attempted to kill Diophantus's entire family. They have been caught, the guard said. Bring him to me now, Mithridates V shouted. Without hesitating, the guard went for the perpetrator. Here he is, sir. He was caught last night trying to run from the crime, the guard said. Was anyone injured, Mithridates V asked. Sweat started to drip down his forehead. No one was hurt. All are in perfect condition, the guard replied. Thank you. You can leave now, Mithridates V said. The guard bowed and left. Mithridates V immediately grabbed the man by his throat. Tell me who you work for, now. You fool, was all that came out of the man's mouth as he started to smile. Mithridates V threw the man across the room into the wall. Tell me now, he thundered as he pulled out a knife. We can work something out, the man said. Just don't touch me with that knife. Mithridates V got closer. Tell me who you are and who you work for, or I will end your life. The thief jumped up and punched Mithridates V. Mithridates V swung back. He followed up his hit with a stab to the throat with his knife. The man slumped to the ground. Sir, what is going on? The guard said as they rushed in. Better late than never, I guess. Clean this up and get rid of the body, Mithridates V ordered. Oh my, Laodice screeched. You killed him. I had to. Who knows what he was capable of, Mithridates V replied. You fool. You won't be lasting much longer, Laodice thought. She walked up and slipped a vial of poison to Alexios. What is your plan? Euthalia asked. I will take Mithridates VI out into the wilderness. It is too dangerous here, Diophantus replied. Are you insane? Euthalia yelled. You can't just leave your fam. Before she could finish, Diophantus interrupted. This is why you will be staying in Amasya, he said calmly. There is no way I can persuade you, is there? Euthalia asked. No, you will be staying with our son in Amasya. Diophantus and his wife hugged for the last time. Well, Mithridates VI, here begins our journey. Diophantus took one horse and enough supplies to last them a month. Who will we guard now? One of the guards asked. Gordius the Elder is coming. He You will be under his command, Diophantus said. Farewell. You all served me well. Diophantus, with a cloak covering himself, rode off into the mountains. Sir, an ambassador from Bithynia has arrived, the guard said. This couldn't be a worse time, Mithridates V said. Bring him in. It was no ambassador. It was the king himself. Hail, King Mithridates V of Pontus, he said. Nicomedes III, he asked, shocked. What brings you here? What brings me here? Why, I have heard the news. A savior king has been born, Nicomedes III said. What is he talking about? Mithridates V thought. You must have the wrong kingdom. No savior has been born here, Mithridates V said. Don't try to hide him. Where is he? Nicomedes III asked. You must be mistaken. There really is no savior king, Mithridates V said. There is a savior king, Nicomedes III said. He is here in Pontus. All of Asia is talking about him. All of Asia is talking about a savior king, Mithridates V asked, intrigued. Why, of course. Do you not remember the comet? Nicomedes III asked. The words hit him like a horse. The comet, he thought. I do, now that you mentioned it, Mithridates V said. But I am afraid the coming savior was not born here. Why, I am sorry, Mithridates V. I was sure he was going to be born in Pontus, Nicomedes III said. The two said their goodbyes, and Nicomedes III departed. That was close, Mithridates V thought. My son must be kept a secret. Diophantus, you better keep him safe. Chapter 3. 9 years later. There you go. You're already getting the hang of it, Diophantus shouted as Mithridates VI was throwing his child-sized javelins. Only because of your help, Mithridates VI said. I have been thinking, Diophantus said. It's a good time to bring you back to Amasya. Mithridates VI's heart almost jumped out of his chest. Really? He asked. Yes, really. We will leave at dawn, Diophantus said. It will be a good time to get out of these mountains, he thought. Mithridates VI immediately started to pack all of his belongings that he had made. Look, here is my carving of a wolf, he said. Diophantus smiled. You did an amazing job on it. Your father will be proud. Diophantus paused. Mithridates VI, I want you to keep something in mind. Amasya is not like the mountains, and as a prince, you must be careful. There are dangers everywhere. I'm gonna be like a target, aren't I? Mithridates VI asked. The little boy stared at his carving wolf. Diophantus nodded his head. Then that will only make it fair, Mithridates VI said. Diophantus was taken back by this. I think it's time you get some rest. Be up early. The two slipped into their cave and put the fire out for their last night. Diophantus, wake up, Mithridates VI said. What is it? Diophantus asked, trying to wake up. It's time to leave, Mithridates VI said. Diophantus was extremely tired, but decided that would be better to get in the city early. Alright, we will leave now. Do you have everything? Yes, I have been up all night, Mithridates VI said energetically. Diophantus shook it off and gathered his stuff. Let's get you back to your home, he said. Who goes there? A guard shouted. It is I, Diophantus, General of Mithridates V, Diophantus said. Diophantus, we thought you died, the guard said. Come inside, we will have a meal for you. It is nice to see you and your friend again, Ariobarzanes said. You had the king worried sick. The king is always worried, but it seems that he kept his faith in me, Diophantus said. He took a bite of the prepared deer meat. Ha, of course he has. How is Mithridates VI doing? Ariobarzanes asked. He is a very fast learner and strong, Diophantus said. He has the aim of a veteran archer and can ride just about any horse. I hope that he is ready for the dangers of being a prince. I think that he is ready. I can tell just by looking at him that no one will be able to withstand him, Ariobarzanes said. As much as I want to stay, I must be going, Diophantus said. It was nice seeing you, and Mithridates VI. I wish you luck on your journey, Ariobarzanes said. Listen, Mithridates VI. We have to be quiet. Everyone thinks that we are dead, Diophantus said. I understand, Mithridates VI said. What do you want me to do? Diophantus thought for a moment. I want you to climb into the sack until we make it into the palace. Keep quiet. They traveled smoothly all the way to Amasya. Mithridates V. It is an honor to see you again, Diophantus said, bowing as he entered the room. Mithridates VI was almost knocked out of his shoes. Diophantus? I cannot believe my eyes. The two embraced. You will have to tell me all about your time in the wilderness. Yes, but that is for later. I need to find my wife, and you need to say hi to your son, Diophantus said as he handed the sack to Mithridates V. That boy is going to be special one day. Wait, don't just leave, Mithridates V yelled. It was no use. Diophantus was already out of the palace. Mithridates V took a deep breath. Son, my brave boy, come out of there. Mithridates VI jumped out of the sack and embraced his father. I can't believe I finally get to see you. The two started to exchange stories. Then I cornered the wolf. Diophantus was the one that killed it, though. It sounds like you had more fun than troubles. The gods seem to have truly blessed you, Mithridates V said. Where is your mother? Mithridates VI asked, looking around. Mithridates V stopped for a moment. Mother is currently taking care of your younger siblings. Can we go and see them? Mithridates VI asked. I am gonna regret this, Mithridates V thought. Yes, we can go see them right now. The two started to walk down the hall. Well, look at that. It's Mithridates VI, Alexios said, bowing in honor. The two exchanged smiles and continued walking. That fool is gonna pay for letting him come back, he thought. There they are, Mithridates V said as he pointed. Mother, Mithridates VI said, running into his mother's arms. Mithridates VI? Are my eyes deceiving me? Laodice asked. No, it's really me, Mithridates VI said. I guess it is you, Laodice said. How is this possible, she thought. Come over here. This is your sister Laodice and brother Mithridates Crestus. Mithridates VI studied the two for a moment. Does Mithridates Crestus know how to throw a javelin? Laodice stumbled at the question. No, he doesn't, but in time he will learn. Mithridates VI. How about we take a walk around Amasya? Mithridates V asked. Mithridates VI agreed and left with his father. I have to get rid of them, Laodice thought. She suddenly became extremely paranoid. Are those our warriors? Mithridates VI asked. Yes, in fact, this is the entire barracks, where all the warriors train, Mithridates V replied. When do I get to become a warrior? Mithridates VI asked. Son, you won't be a warrior to me. You are going to rule the entire kingdom one day, Mithridates V said. Ruling my own kingdom? That sounds amazing, Mithridates VI said, jumping up with excitement. It is not as exciting as you think, Mithridates V said with a chuckle. Mithridates VI grunted. Is that the stables? He asked. Yes, this is where we train our renowned horsemen, Mithridates V said. It is always good to have extra cavalry in your army, Mithridates V stopped for a moment. Did you learn anything about plants when you were staying with Diophantus? Yes, he taught me about which ones I can use to heal wounds, Mithridates VI said. He is going to need more than that to survive, Mithridates V thought. As the two were walking down the main road, a guard came running up. Sir, it is urgent. The Galatians are attacking. Ariobarzanes is under siege, the guard said, trying to catch his breath. The Galatians, Mithridates V said in amazement. Never mind. Help me gather the cavalry. We can scatter the enemy quickly. With the help of the guard, the cavalry units were prepared to fight. Can I come with you? Mithridates VI asked. No, you must stay here. It is not safe, Mithridates V replied. Father, let me come. I can fight too, Mithridates argued. Son, you will stay here. Do you understand me? Mithridates V demanded. Yes, father, Mithridates VI replied. Feeling defeated, Mithridates VI went to watch the barrack troops train. Are you ready for this? Hermocrates asked. Hermocrates was a cavalry commander for Mithridates V. Of course, they won't last long in a fight, Mithridates V replied. Let's do this quickly before Ariobarzanes shats himself. There they are, Hermocrates whispered to himself. Cavalry, on me. With his arm, he signaled his group of cavalry to follow him. Forward, at a slow pace, Mithridates V said. They were going to encircle the Galatians. Before either of them could give the command, they could hear Ariobarzanes. Charge! For Pontus, Ariobarzanes screeched. He was leading his men in a sally. Now, charge! Hermocrates and Mithridates V said, practically at the same time. The fight was swift and over quickly. Just as I expected. They broke on impact, Mithridates V said. Are you okay? I am fine. We showed them who's superior. Hopefully they won't come back, Ariobarzanes said. Hermocrates, Mithridates V said. I want you to take 3,000 cavalry and raid the Galatian lands. Do not take any losses. Do you understand? Yes, sir. I will not let you down. Hermocrates took his cavalry and rushed off towards Galatia. How many casualties? Mithridates V asked. No more than 100. It looks like they took a lot more, Ariobarzanes said as he put his sword in its scabbard. Why are they trying to raid our territory so much? Mithridates V thought for a moment. I think I know why, but we have to talk somewhere else. The two went into the fort. Do you think it has to do with your son? Ariobarzanes asked as he sat down. Ever since he was born, strange things have been happening. Mithridates V proceeded to sit in his chair. The Galatians are raiding us, Laodicea is acting strange, and the king of Bithynia shows up. Why was that weasel here? Ariobarzanes asked. He says that he is looking for the newly born savior, Mithridates V said. He thought that he was in Pontus. He is in Pontus, Ariobarzanes said as he leaned forward. Your son is the savior king. We will talk on this matter some other time. I must be going. Mithridates V left the fort, and with what troops were left, went back to Amasya. Meanwhile, in Galatia. This should not be hard. Make this fast and unpleasant. Hermocrates unleashed his 3,000 cavalry on the most eastern part of Galatia. Out of nowhere, a man came out carrying a white flag. Really, that's all it took. I don't believe it, he thought. Call off your warriors or face the wrath of the entire Galatian army, the man demanded. Hermocrates scoffed. You raid our lands, we will raid you back. If you bring out your warriors, then we will defend ourselves. The man turned and galloped away. Hermocrates called his men back. You fat Pontic fool, Magurix whispered. Charge! The order was given. There, Hermocrates yelled. Charge them, now! Hermocrates whipped his spear back and threw it, killing the man in front of him. He drew his sword and started to slash at the thousands of warriors. The battle was over as soon as it began. Fall back, into the woods, Magurix yelled. Thank the gods, Hermocrates says as he tried to catch his breath. Let's get back to Pontus. Chapter 4. And you routed them with one charge, Mithridates V asked, leaning on his left arm. Yes, sir. The battle was over as soon as it had begun, Hermocrates said. Did you inflict more casualties than you took? Mithridates V asked. Yes, sir. We barely lost any, Hermocrates said. You can go back to your post in the barracks now, Mithridates V said. Hermocrates bowed and left. That was amazing to listen to. I wish I was there, Mithridates VI said. Well, I can't take you to battle. How about we go on a hunting trip? Mithridates V asked. I would love to, Mithridates VI replied. Gathering his bow, arrows, spear, and dagger, they left early the next morning. Be on your lookout. There could be anything around, Mithridates V whispered. Look, over there, Mithridates VI pointed. It was a boar. We had to find a boar on our first hunting trip, Mithridates V thought. Be careful, son. I don't want you or the horses getting impaled. Before he could react, Mithridates VI drew his bow back and shot the animal. No, you should have waited. The boar started to charge. Watch this, father, Mithridates VI said as he charged forward. Stunned, all Mithridates V could do was watch as the two ran at each other. Mithridates VI wheeled his horse around and stabbed the animal with his spear. That was an amazing job, Mithridates V said. But you have to be more careful. Boars are dangerous. Let's get this beast back home. Diophantus trains you well, he thought. As the two rode their horses back while carrying the boar, Mithridates V saw something that he could not help but question. Son, what is that on your forehead? While Diophantus and I were hiding in the mountains, I was hit by lightning in my cradle, Mithridates VI replied. Hit by lightning, Mithridates V thought. He truly is the Savior King. Is that a boar? Alexios asked, stunned. It is, Mithridates V said. My son killed it all on his own. Great job, boy, Alexios said as he slapped Mithridates VI on the back. That will be the last one that you ever kill. The entire palace of Amasya was in celebration. Would you look at that, boy, Diophantus said. Everyone loves you. Mithridates VI never replied. What's wrong? Diophantus asked, clearly worried. My mother never congratulated me. She was mad that I put myself in danger, Mithridates VI said. You stay here. I will go talk to her. Diophantus stood up and left the palace. What a witch, he thought. Diophantus, Laodice began, I was not expecting you. As gentle as I can be, Diophantus started. I was just wondering as to why you did not congratulate your son on his first boar kill. That is no business a low-life general should be putting his nose in, Laodice said. Diophantus was about to react with anger, but he held back. You are not fit to be a queen, he said as he left the room. And you are no longer fit to live in my kingdom, Laodice thought. As the day ended and night crept over the kingdom, Diophantus took his armor off and slipped into bed. Mithridates VI slept in the same palace room. All was quiet in the kingdom, until... Get off of me, Diophantus yelled. A fierce struggle ensued. Mithridates VI was woken up by the noise. He grabbed his knife and rushed to save Diophantus. Get off of him, he shouted as he stabbed the man in the back. With all his strength, Diophantus pushed the man off of himself, throwing a few punches into the man's face. You saved my life, he said. I did? I did, Mithridates VI said. We have to get the king and figure out who sent him. I have a sneaky suspicion as to who it could be, Diophantus said. Another assassin? Mithridates V asked. Yes, sir. He would have had me if your boy didn't save me, Diophantus said. Good job. I will get you a gift for it, Mithridates V said. For now, though, we have to find out who did this. Sire, if I may voice my opinion, I think I know who it could be, Diophantus said. Let me hear it, Mithridates V said. Away from the boy, Diophantus said. The two walked into the palace room. I think Laodice has something to do with it. You have the same feeling that I do, Mithridates V said. However, without more evidence, we can't just throw the queen into prison. You have more than enough power to do so, Diophantus said. I will not. It is not the right thing to do, Mithridates V said. Let's get back out into the hall. The right thing to do, Diophantus thought. The next morning, the palace was in an outrage. We must find the man who attempted to murder our beloved general, Ariobarzanes shouted, throwing his arms into the air. But how? We have no evidence. The man is dead, Gordius the elder said. Everyone quiet down, Mithridates V shouted. All we can do is wait. I will double the guards of the palace, and we will have a guard at our bedside. This is an outrage, Ariobarzanes shouted. Unless you have a better idea, that is what we are going to do, Mithridates V said. You are all dismissed. Something strange is going on, Mithridates VI thought. Sir, come here, quickly, the spy said as he tried to catch his breath. If it isn't important, then don't bother telling me, Ariobarzanes said. It is about Alexios and the queen, the spy said. Then spit it out, Ariobarzanes shouted. They are the ones that attempted to kill Diophantus. They are also trying to kill the heir and the king. The spy fell over, finally running out of breath. This is horrible news. We have to warn the palace, Ariobarzanes said. He turned the guard around and marched back to the capital. No one is being killed except her. Without warning, Ariobarzanes marched his entire guard into the palace. Halt! No one is allowed in with their guard, Alexios shouted. I can't bring my guard in, but you can betray the entire kingdom, Ariobarzanes fired back. You're going to regret saying that. Alexios lunged forward and punched Ariobarzanes. Ariobarzanes, being twice the man's age and a veteran warrior, turned Alexios to the wall and slammed his head into it multiple times. What is going on? Another guard came running up. Arrest him. He is a traitor, Ariobarzanes shouted. No, arrest him. He is a traitor, Alexios said as he tried to stop his nose from bleeding. You're both coming with me, the guard said. Not so fast, a voice rang out. It was Diophantus. I saw the whole thing. Alexios attacked Ariobarzanes. Alexios was carried off to the king's palace for questioning. Ariobarzanes and Diophantus were also in the room. And why did you come into the palace with your guard? Mithridates V asked, annoyed. Alexios and Laodice are traitors. I have proof, Ariobarzanes said. Mithridates V thought for a moment. How am I supposed to deal with this? Sir, Alexios still attacked Ariobarzanes, Diophantus argued. Alexios will be held in prison for 40 days. Ariobarzanes, you will go back to your post until I come and visit you, Mithridates V said. Ariobarzanes stormed out of the palace. Diophantus went back to his room. Once again, all was quiet. Chapter 5. 4 years later. Well, son, you are doing absolutely fantastic, Mithridates V said. I can finally wield a sword like a real warrior, Mithridates VI said. When are we going to go out and ride? I am sorry to tell you this, but we won't be going riding today, Mithridates V said. We are planning our great banquet for you. It is your 14th birthday after all. You're right, Mithridates VI said, disappointed. I'll just make the best of it. Don't worry, it is going to be fun, Mithridates V said, trying to comfort the boy. Plus, everyone is going to be there. When are we having it? Mithridates VI asked. It is about to start. Let's get going, Mithridates V said. The two walked into the palace room. Well, if it isn't Diophantus, Mithridates VI joked. It is nice to see you, old man. Don't call me old, Diophantus said. However, I am getting up there. The two laughed as they sat down. There are many nobles here, Mithridates VI said, as he tried to study everyone. Do not fret, boy. They are all here to celebrate your birthday, Diophantus said. Mithridates VI let out a heavy sigh. Then Mithridates V announced, Silence, everyone. We have not come here to chat. We are here to celebrate the heir of Pontus's birthday. Everyone cheered, except Laodice. I know what you're planning, Mithridates VI thought. Mithridates V proceeded to take a sip of his wine. Hold on just 1 second, Mithridates VI thought. Without letting anyone know, he took a sniff of his wine. Don't drink that, he shouted. What are you doing? Mithridates V asked. Before anyone else could speak, he started to choke. You bitch, Ariobarzanes shouted. Without hesitating, he jumped over the table and grabbed Laodice. Get off of her, Alexios shouted as he hit Ariobarzanes with the end of his spear. Ariobarzanes groaned in pain as blood came out of his temple, but he did not let go of Laodice. Diophantus jumped to the aid of his loyal partner. He grappled Alexios down and pinned him to the wall. 4 guards rushed into the room and put their spears out in front of them. You are all under arrest, the lead guard shouted. Ariobarzanes furiously fought to get by the guards. Gordius the Elder threw himself into the fray. With all his might, he punched one of the guards. Diophantus was about to leave, but then he remembered. Mithridates VI, come with me, he yelled. Mithridates VI jumped over the table and onto Diophantus's back. The 4 warriors easily overcame the guards and made their way out of Amasya. I have a feeling that we won't be welcome back anytime soon, Gordius said. I warned you all, Ariobarzanes said. It is not time to argue. We need to get our families and stick together, Diophantus said. Don't worry, Mithridates VI. We will get you on that throne, one way or another. This is exactly the type of banquet that I was expecting, Mithridates VI sighed, still in shock. I can understand your frustration. This will be your first life lesson. Never trust anyone, Diophantus said. Where are we going to go? Ariobarzanes asked. We can go to my post on the border of Armenia. They will never look there, Gordius said. They will look there. It wouldn't surprise me if they already took over the entire kingdom, Diophantus said. Where do you propose we go? Gordius asked, sitting on a nearby rock. Diophantus thought for a moment. This is dangerous, but we could go to the Mosiniki. With the heir of our kingdom, Ariobarzanes shouted. Will you keep it down? We are still in the city, Diophantus said. Let's get out of here and make our way to Armenia. We can go to the Mosiniki later on, Gordius said. All agreed on the plan. The veteran group of warriors gathered their families and left their beloved capital, never to return. What is going to happen to us, father? Gordius the Younger asked. We are going to have to live in the wild for a short time, Gordius the Elder replied. Gordius, do you still have any of those Armenian horsemen? Diophantus the Elder asked. If they weren't murdered already, then yes, Gordius the Elder replied. The small group made their way to the border of Armenia. Are those your warriors, Gordius? Ariobarzanes asked. No, they are not, Gordius the Elder replied. Looks like we are going to have to fight. The generals took their small army into stock. We have 50 warriors, none mounted, Ariobarzanes said. How are we supposed to take a defended fort with 50 warriors? Diophantus the Elder asked. I have an idea, Mithridates VI said. How about we sneak in? It is our only and best bet, Gordius the Elder said. Alright, I will take 20 men with me and sneak in from behind. You keep them distracted with ranged weapons, Diophantus the Elder said. Mithridates VI grabbed his sling and began pelting the defenders. One of the stones struck a defender in the head, killing him. Good hit, Mithridates VI. Now watch me. Gordius the Younger, being the same age as Mithridates VI, ran up and threw one of his spears, taking down one of the defenders. Unexpectedly, the defenders sallied out. Into the woods, now, Ariobarzanes commanded. You will pay for this, one of the defenders shouted. Into the flank, charge, a voice ran out. Hermocrates, hearing of the runaways, joined in on the rebellion. He led his 3,000 cavalry into the flank of the defenders. At the same time, Diophantus hit the other side. It is nice to see that you are still loyal, Diophantus the Elder said as he embraced Hermocrates. I was not just going to abandon my old friends, not to mention the heir, Hermocrates said. Let's stay the night here, but after that we have to leave, Diophantus said. What type of troops were those? Hermocrates asked. They were Colchians, Ariobarzanes said. How did Colchians take over the fort? I don't think they did, Gordius the Elder said. I think Laodicea allowed them in. If she is inviting tribesmen from Colchis, then who knows what else has invaded our kingdom, Diophantus the Elder said. No wonder we lost Phrygia, Hermocrates said. We lost Phrygia? Diophantus asked in a rage. This must be a misunderstanding, Aratus said. There is no misunderstanding. The territory has been surrendered to Rome, Sulla said. Not to offend you, sir, but I never got an order to abandon the territory, Aratus said, trying to hide the horror in his eyes. I have the letter right here, and I will read it to you. The territory of Phrygia, under Pontic rule, will be surrendered to Rome by orders of Queen Laodice, Queen of Pontus, Sulla said. That is a fabrication. There is no such letter that ever existed, Aratus shouted. Surrender the territory, or we will take it by force, Sulla demanded. Then you will have to take it by force, Aratus said. Aratus was a strong and bold leader. He was given Phrygia as his territory to govern, and he was not about to let Rome take it. Legion, on me! Sulla gave the order for the 5,000 men to attack. Aratus only had about 3,500, 500 of whom were mounted. We will have to ambush them. Take the cavalry and hide in these hills. I will hold them in place with my infantry. The Roman legion advanced on the Pontic infantry. Come on, you cowards, one man shouted. The two sides collided. Aratus led his men from the front. War cries could be heard from the hills. Charge, the mercenary cavalry commander shouted. Off, this was supposed to be easy, Sulla shouted. You men, pivot and stop that cavalry. In an instant, the cavalry was stopped dead in its tracks. Although Aratus's men fought for their lives, they could not win. If any of you want to die honorably and not go back to Rome a slave, then follow me. Aratus had rallied the remaining soldiers. They charged out of the hills and into the Roman infantry. For Pontic independence were Aratus's last words before his throat was cut by a Roman sword. Chapter 6. And that's the story of how we lost Phrygia, Hermocrates said. This can't be real, Diophantus the Elder sighed. He paced energetically around the room. It is real, and until we go back to Amicia and take our kingdom back, we will continue to lose territory, Ariobarzanes shouted. With what? Gordius the Elder asked. We have a few thousand horsemen, and last time I checked, cavalry can't scale walls. We have to stay hidden. Remember, Mithridates is only 14. He is not ready to be king, Diophantus said. We all need to get some sleep. I will put some guards on watch duty, Gordius the Elder said. We leave for the Mosiniki at dawn. The group of friends slept peacefully that night, but dawn came faster than anyone could have imagined. Do we have everything? Diophantus the Elder asked. As long as we have the prince, we will be fine, Gordius the Younger joked. The group began their journey, until they noticed something. Stop, Diophantus the Elder ordered. What is it? Ariobarzanes said. He looked around the trees that surrounded them. They are here. Just be on watch. We have to move slowly, Diophantus the Elder said. Do not move another muscle or I will put your eye out, Holnat, the king of the Mosiniki, ordered. We come in peace. We don't mean any harm, Diophantus the Elder said. Surround them, Holnat ordered. Hundreds of warriors dropped down from the trees. What is it that you want? We have come to request your aid. We need your help to reclaim our kingdom, Diophantus the Elder said. Holnat crept forward. And who am I helping? The true heir to the kingdom of Pontus, Mithridates VI, Diophantus said. He attempted to calm his nerves. Well, I don't see a prince. Where is he? Holnat asked. He is right here. To Diophantus's horror, Mithridates VI was gone. Where did he go? I knew it. You liars! Holnat ordered his men to attack. There is no heir to Pontus. All of a sudden, a knife came up to his neck. Yes, there is, and his name is Mithridates VI, Mithridates said. Haul your warriors off, or I will take your life. Men, drop the weapons, Holnat ordered, horrified. Mithridates VI took the knife off of his neck. That was brave of you, Diophantus the Elder said. How am I supposed to help you reclaim your kingdom? Holnat interrupted. How about we talk in privacy? Ariobarzanes asked. The group agreed to go into the king's treehouse. I have a simple request. You give us a few of your warriors, Diophantus said. We will forever leave you alone in peace, as long as you stop raiding our territory. Holnat thought for a moment. That is not my choice. I cannot make that decision without my people's agreement. Are you being serious? Ariobarzanes asked, not taking him literally. Yes, he is, Mithridates VI said. That's how they get their way. That boy is smart, Holnat said. He will make a great king. Then how do we proceed from here? Diophantus the Elder asked. I will bring your request to my people and ask them if they agree, Holnat said as he left. All of a sudden, Ariobarzanes nudged Diophantus. I think our prince just found his queen, he whispered. Diophantus looked across the room. Don't be crazy. Holnat would never give up his daughter, he said. Have you ever ridden a horse? Mithridates VI asked, captivated by the young girl's long black hair. Yes, but I am not good at it, Valda replied. Valda was about as sweet and smart of a girl as you can get. Maybe you could come back with us on our way back to Pontus, Mithridates VI suggested. Please say yes, he thought. The girl started to blush. I would love to, but I don't think my father would let me, she said. Before Mithridates VI could speak, Holnat walked in. My people have agreed to aid you, Holnat said. To seal our alliance, I will offer my daughter's hand in marriage to your prince. Mithridates VI's heart almost fell out. I think our prince will accept your request, Ariobarzanes said, smirking. Mithridates VI snapped out of his trance. Yes, sir. I will accept your daughter's hand in marriage. I am glad to hear that. I have 50 warriors waiting outside to join you. Go and take back your kingdom, Holnat cheered. With their new allies, the group of warriors set their sights on the border of Galatia. If we can get there, then we can get my troops to help us, Ariobarzanes said. Then what is keeping us waiting? Let's go, Mithridates VI said. With his new queen on the back of his horse, the group rode off towards Galatia. This is not what we agreed on, Laodice shouted. You are right, but there is nothing you can do about me seizing power, Alexios said. Guards, arrest him, Laodice said. The guards made their way towards Alexios. Don't allow them to get a step closer, Alexios ordered his own guards to attack. The fight started. In the small, dark hall of the palace, Alexios and Laodice battled for supremacy over the kingdom. One of Alexios' guards parried the attack of another guard. Going on the offensive, he stabbed the man with the sword. Alexios jumped into the battle. Despite his best efforts to win the small skirmish, Alexios was hit in the leg by a spear. His men soon surrendered. Throw them all in the dungeon, Laodice ordered. Now I can finally get to reign this kingdom. When the group of runaways arrived at the border of Galatia, the situation could not have been worse. That bitch invited the Galatians to camp on our territory, Ariobarzanes raged. Quiet down. I know that you're angry, but if we can catch them off guard, then we can rout them quickly, Diophantus the Elder said. Can I fight in this battle? Mithridates VI asked. What do you think? Diophantus the Elder asked. If he gets to fight, then we do too, Gordius and Diophantus the Younger argued. I don't see anything wrong with it, Gordius the Elder said. Alright then, prepare your weapons for your first fight. Be on your guard, Diophantus said. Here is the plan. We will allow them to fight our outnumbered infantry. They will get stuck in an engagement that they can't get out of. Hermocrates will lead his 3,000 cavalry into their rear. This will be another easy victory, Hermocrates boasted. He drew his sword out of its scabbard. Let's make this fast. I want my forts back, Ariobarzanes said. Mithridates VI pulled out his spear. I am ready, he shouted. Before he could leave, Valda stepped forward. Please be careful, she said as she kissed him on the cheek, making him freeze in place. Quickly, he snapped out of it. Blushing, he smiled back at the young girl. Mithridates VI, you better not make yourself a target, Ariobarzanes said. Don't worry, I have my most loyal friends protecting me, Mithridates VI boasted. Before he even knew it, the order was given for the infantry to charge. Crush them, for the glory of Pontus, Diophantus the Elder shouted. Mithridates VI was one of the first into battle. A Galatian warrior, at least 3 times the size of Mithridates, charged at him. Mithridates shouted as he threw his spear, killing the Galatian instantly. Good job, boy. Keep giving it to him, Diophantus shouted as he kicked one of the Galatians charging him. Without warning, another Galatian came running up towards Mithridates. It was too late for him to react. The Galatian raised his sword. Not so fast, Gordius the Younger yelled as he hit the Galatian point blank with a stone from a sling. I owe you one for saving my life, Mithridates yelled. Don't worry about that one. It was a free pass, Gordius the Younger said. The 3 boys fought in the front row alongside their best friends. All was going great for the boys, until the Galatians were spurred on by their leader. We are not going to break this time. Crush them, Magurix shouted. Mithridates, despite fighting his heart out, was pummeled by a massive Galatian warrior. His head hit the ground and his world went black. Save the prince, Ariobarzanes yelled. He rushed towards the body of Mithridates. With brazen fury, the Pontic army started to gain the upper hand. Now is our chance, Hermocrates yelled to his cavalrymen. The charge was fierce. The Galatians were broken. Where is the prince's body? Diophantus the Elder said in a panic. Right here, the father, Diophantus the Younger said. Is he alive? Diophantus the Elder asked. Yes, he is, Ariobarzanes said, trying to reassure Diophantus. I told him not to make himself a target. As long as he is alive, all is good, Diophantus the Elder said, sighing in relief. Let's clean this mess up and get my warriors. We will have a much higher chance of taking back the kingdom now, Ariobarzanes said. Where is he? Valda asked, already starting to tear up. Over here, Gordius the Younger said. Your husband seems to be a bit bold-headed. Oh my, Valda said as she started to cry. Don't worry, he isn't dead, Gordius the Younger said. Gordius couldn't help but smirk. I think it's best if we get him into a bed, Diophantus the Elder said. Diophantus the Elder picked up Mithridates and put him in the bed chamber with Valda. Where am I? Mithridates VI shouted as he woke up. He had been unconscious all day. Ow! He screeched in pain. It would be better for you to keep quiet and lay back down, Valda said. You have a massive lump on your head. I guess that's what happens when someone 3 times your size hits you, Mithridates VI said. Mithridates locked eyes with Valda. He started to get extremely nervous. Is this our destiny? Valda asked. If the gods want it to be, then yes, Mithridates replied. Without warning, Valda slipped her furry barbarian coat off, revealing something completely alien to Mithridates. The 2 locked lips and explored the lust that they never knew they held for each other. Chapter 7. Here's the map of Pontus, Diophantus the Elder said. We control all of the outer territory. Other than that, Laodice controls all of the territory around Amasya and Sinope. Should we take all of the territory and then Amasya? Ariobarzanes asked, or do we march right on the capital? I say that we march on the capital. It makes the most sense, Gordius the Elder said. I have to agree with Gordius. If we can take Amasya, then all of Pontus will fall to us, Diophantus the Elder said. I have one more question. When do we attack? Ariobarzanes asked. That will be up to our prince, and soon-to-be king, Diophantus the Elder said. Where is he? I'm right here, Mithridates said as he ran out of his room. Where is your shirt and cape? Ariobarzanes asked. Ariobarzanes couldn't control his laugh. Mithridates suddenly realized that he forgot half of his clothes. I will be right back, he said. Okay, I'm ready now. Well, King of Pontus, when do we take back Amasya? Diophantus asked. The weight of the world seemed to be on Mithridates' shoulders, as all of his generals and friends stared at him. We attack as soon as we can, he stuttered. Then let's go. Amasya will be ours once again, Ariobarzanes said. The small army now marched on its own capital. Are you nervous? Valda asked. She had her arms around the prince as they rode towards the capital. Mithridates proceeded to look back at her. Yes, I am very nervous. And why is that? Valda teased. If we win, then I become king, and if we lose, I don't want to know what will happen, Mithridates said. I am confident in your ability to win. I am also confident in your ability to be a great king, Valda replied. Mithridates continued to stare towards Amasya. Mithridates, there it is. There is our capital, Diophantus the Elder said. Are you ready to fight? Mithridates asked. As long as you are by my side, I will fight to the death, Diophantus the Elder said. Then let's show this witch how to lead an army, Mithridates VI said. He drew his sword. Out of nowhere, a small army came marching out of the capital. A confrontation could not be avoided. Those are not Pontic troops, Ariobarzanes said. He squinted his eyes. I see Armenians, Colchians, and Galatians, Diophantus said. Let's crush them. Mithridates, whenever you are ready, give the order, Gordius the Elder said. Mithridates took a deep breath and yelled, For the glory of Pontus! The small rebel army surged forward. War cries were heard all throughout the battle line. Mithridates, on the far right with his cavalry, smashed into the Armenians. Taking his javelin, he threw it and killed an Armenian. He could see the entire battle from where he was. Where is that whore? Ariobarzanes, enraged, carved a path through the Galatians. Ariobarzanes, being a huge warrior, was practically unstoppable. Behind you, Diophantus the Elder yelled. Quickly, Diophantus the Elder stabbed the man trying to kill Ariobarzanes. Slow down, you fool. Mithridates, there she is, Gordius the Younger said as he pointed. Laodice could be seen watching the battle from the castle. This will be for my father, Mithridates thought. I'm going in for the kill. Spurring his horse on, he knocked down over 10 warriors. Mithridates made it into Amasya, where it was completely quiet. I know that you're in here. You're not getting away alive this time, Laodice yelled as she brought her sword down on Mithridates' head. Mithridates dodged the blade. He turned back and swung at Laodice. Caught off guard by the speed of the boy, she was hit on the arm. You little shit, she screamed as she held her bleeding arm. Mithridates walked closer. Anger was the only thing that he felt at that time. This is for making me run away and for the death of my father. He raised his blade and killed his mother. Mithridates, are you okay? Diophantus the Elder said as he rushed in. He did it. He did it, Gordius the Elder said in shock. I think we all know who the real owner of this diadem is. Ariobarzanes picked the diadem up and tied it around Mithridates' head. All hail the King of Pontus, he shouted. All hail the King of Pontus, the army began to chant. Well, sir, what is your first order? Diophantus said as he kneeled at Mithridates' feet. My first order is that you get up. My second one is that you arrest my brother, Mithridates said. Diophantus looked up. Yes, sir, he said as he walked past Mithridates. Ariobarzanes, you are the new royal guard commander of Amasya, Mithridates said. I shall protect you until my last breath, Ariobarzanes said, bowing. How about we get our families back to their homes? Gordius the Elder asked. That would be a great idea. I also want you to put the army in the barracks, Mithridates said. Gordius bowed and left. This place is awesome, the young boy said as he walked through the door. And who are you? Mithridates asked. As this was happening, Valda walked in with a smile on her face. Sorry, sir, I didn't realize you were the king, the boy said as he kneeled. My name is Dorilaus. Well, Dorilaus, is there a reason as to why you have armor and a sword on? Mithridates asked. Yes, sir, there is. I was fighting on the battle with you. I have been in Hermocrates' cavalry regiment for 2 years now, Dorilaus replied. He is young. He can be useful, Mithridates thought. How would you feel about taking the priesthood at Comina? Sir, that would be amazing, Dorilaus said. I accept your request. Then stop kneeling and get up, Mithridates ordered. I will have Gordius the Elder escort you to Comina. You are allowed to stay in the capital whenever you like. Thank you, sir, Dorilaus replied. Bowing, he left to find Gordius the Elder. Is there anything that I need to do? You are the king of Pontus, after all, Valda said with a smile. My queen won't be doing any of the labor that my generals can do, Mithridates said. How about we go to the palace room? The two walked in silence. Knocking came to the door. Hold on, Mithridates VI said as he jumped out of bed. Who is it? It is the commander of the royal guards, Sir Ariobarzanes said. Mithridates VI opened the door. What is it? He asked. Alexios is locked in a cell. What should we do with him? Ariobarzanes asked. Mithridates VI thought for a moment. Execute him, alongside my brother, tomorrow morning in the public square. Yes, sir, Ariobarzanes said as he bowed and left. It will be known that the king of Pontus will not allow any traitors in the kingdom, Mithridates thought. The next morning, Mithridates put his diadem on and climbed up onto his throne as Valda sat next to him. The generals were on each side. Sir, if I might ask, what is your plan to retake Phrygia? Diophantus the Elder asked. There is no plan. Let Rome have it. I have other ideas, Mithridates said. Trapezoos will be the first of my conquest.